On the program today, we'll take a look at war against corruption under the President Bola Tinubu's administration, as some successes are now being recorded. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission recently secured an order of court for the forfeiture of an estate said to belong to a top government official and contains over 700 houses and apartments. This recovery is considered the single largest recovery made by the Commission since its establishment in 2002. The order of final forfeiture was granted by Justice Jude Onwogwueze of an FCT High Court sitting in Apple upon an application brought under Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act. Court papers filed by EFCC have linked certain known individuals to the massive Abuja property. So the big question is, who's the owner of this property? Does it tally with what we're seeing on the court papers? I'm joined by lawyer and human rights activist Mohammed Inuwa. Mr. Inuwa, thank you for joining us on the program this evening. We're looking at probably the largest single asset recovery in EFCC history. How do you think this strategy reflects the agency's commitment to fighting corruption?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Indeed, this news of having the... Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Indeed, this is a very impressive news on the part of the EFCC to have this kind of recovery, massive as it is, over 700 estates. But the challenge here is that EFCC must do more to restore confidence in the public domain. As it is today, the activities of the EFCC is seen not to have, despite these pockets of achievement here and there, the public still do not have confidence in the activities of the EFCC. There is need for full disclosure as to who is the owner of that property. You cannot be speaking from two sides of your mouth. Here you have a document in court under a sworn affidavit disclosing the owners, disclosing the alleged individuals of this property, and on the other hand, you are saying you don't know the owner. Take, for instance, the case of former governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Adoze Bello. His properties, alleged properties abroad, in Dubai, in other places, have been disclosed to be the owner of that property. Why is it difficult for EFCC to simply say, okay, these properties belong to so-so and so-so person? Is it a case of flogging one with one rope and then the other one you are pampering him? So that is the challenge. EFCC must do a lot to ensure that there is serious confidence that is restored in the minds of Nigerians, so that when this kind of achievement is being made, Nigerians will key in and celebrate with you. As it is today, Nigerians are raising suspicions. You cannot have massive properties like this and you say you don't know the owner, that the actions you are doing is a realm.
Mr. Inuwa, it's important that we state it clearly. Just to be sure that we're not misrepresenting the EFCC, the agency never said it doesn't know the owner. It was not just willing to disclose the identity of the owner. And we heard from a spokesperson recently saying that the identity could not be revealed because the investigation into the suspected criminality is an ongoing one. There are conversations, I hear you clearly, especially online as well, the need for EFCC to build on the momentum of this record-breaking forfeiture, for instance, to tackle other high-profile corruption cases and also ensure that those found guilty are held accountable. How do you think the Commission is doing in this regard?
Now, that is the issue. You see, it is so easy for the Commission to go after the former governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Bello, to disclose that he has properties in Dubai, he has properties in Abuja, and so on, while investigation is still going on, while you haven't even arraigned him in court. But here you are saying that because investigation is ongoing, we are not going to disclose who the owner of this property belong. That is why we are concerned. What is happening today in the EFCC? You can confirm clearly that this is not the EFCC of 2004 where people will be shivering. This is a different EFCC we are having. Why the EFCC will have passion drive and desire to rid the Nigerian nation of corruption, it is important they do it in line with the principles of rule of law. I will give you an example. Just recently, what is happening to a renowned human rights activist, Mr. Dele, who was unpicked from his home and then arraigned in court. This is exactly what we are complaining of. Whatever you want to do, for instance, the former governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yaya Adozobele, when he felt his right was being threatened, he went to court for the enforcement of his fundamental human rights. But we have a situation whereby the EFCC went all out and even declared him wanted. You accuse him of embezzling resources when he was not even a governor of that state. You said that embezzlement happened in 2015. He was not even a governor, and he felt his right is being threatened. He rushed to the court to have his right protected under the enforcement of fundamental human rights, and the court, in their wisdom, granted those reliefs, restraining the EFCC from arresting and then arraigning pending. Taking an order, whether that order of court is validly obtained or not, until it is set aside by a court of coordinate jurisdiction or higher court, it is still valid and substantive. But EFCC went all out and declared him wanted. So while we commend the EFCC for the drive, and the effort being made so far, it is important to do it in line with the principles of rule of law. That is all.
Let us talk about rule of law for a minute, Mr. Inuwa. If you can hear me, I'm glad that you are a lawyer yourself. The Commission says what is done is in line with Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act, which is a civil proceeding that allows for action in rem rather than action in personam. So it's saying here that the latter allows legal action to be taken against the property and not an individual, especially in a situation of an unclaimed property. And that's the status as we speak. Do you think there are other alternatives they could have explored outside the provision of this act?
No. We are not even challenging the procedure. The procedure, quite all right, is in line with the provisions of the law, just as they have rightly stated. And it is indeed an action in rem, not an action in personal. I quite agree with that. My contention here is simple. There are cases you go all out, making disclosure, even while investigation is still ongoing. That is just my challenge. Even while investigation is still ongoing, you go all out and declare that this property belongs to so, this property belongs to so and so person. Investigation is still ongoing. It hasn't been concluded. But here you have a very laudable achievement, but you cannot disclose the person. That is the challenge. This is the
all eyes on EFCC's efforts, Mr. Inuwa, especially when it comes to securing high-profile forfeitures like what we've seen recently, and also prosecutions of, high-profile individuals. We've heard Mr. Olukoyede, for instance, earlier saying that he will make this happen. One of the cases you have mentioned already has to do with former Kogi State Governor. But how do you think the Commission can balance the need to hold politicians accountable? Because politicians have to be held accountable, especially those who have been governors, for the choices they have made, right? But how do you think the Commission must do this? How can the Commission do this?
I can't hear you.
Oh my. Mr. Inuwa, can you hear me?
No, I can't. I can't hear you.
Mr. Inuwa, I'm asking how you think the Commission can balance holding political officers accountable and also not appearing to fight in the political battle.
By doing it, it is simple. It is simple by doing it in accordance with the rules of law. Criminal justice system is very clear. An accused person is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. You cannot be having media trial whereby an accused person is now presumed guilty until he proves himself to be innocent. It's as simple as that. It is even better. It is a known cliche in the legal palace. It is better for 10 suspected accused person to walk free than for you to convict one innocent individual. It is as simple as that. So if the EFCC must be seen to play by the rules, they are established by the provisions of the law, and the law clearly stated their rules, and so far so good, they are doing well in that regard, but they must do more to ensure that there is confidence being restored.
You don't think Mr. Inuwa, that in the case of Yahaya Bello, we have moved past that, the case is now in court, being prosecuted. There's absolutely nothing else EFCC is expected to do in that regard. Do you agree?
As far as I'm concerned, as a lawyer, there are instances where you can say that the court is even prejudiced, because Yahaya Bello is painted as a flight risk, which is not the case. All this while that he has refused to submit himself, he was doing it based on court order. He was obeying court order as a responsible citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and as a law-abiding citizen. There is a valid and subsisting court order upon which he was acting. But today, what it seems in the public domain is that it's a flight risk, which is not the truth. And the matter is already in court. I wouldn't want to be commenting on it so that it would not, I wouldn't want to be, it is sub judice to make comment on it when it's already in court. But actions that the former governor are taking clearly are actions done in compliance with an order of court. And when that order of court was set aside, Yahaya Bello on his own voluntarily presented himself before the EFCC. We all saw that. He went there on his own. The present governor took him there and then submitted himself and said, okay, as of today, I don't have any order restraining me from coming. Here I am. EFCC is not interested in that. They are interested in show. They are interested in seeing. And they asked him to go back only for them to later stage an arrest, which is not proper. That is the case. That is what we are saying.
Like you said, Mr. Inuwa, the case is now in court.
It should be commended for. It should be commended to have even voluntarily come, because there was nothing restraining him from coming.
I hear you clearly, Mr. Inuwa.
That is the point we have been making.
The matter is now before a court of competent jurisdiction, and it's important that we leave it that way. Thank you for your contribution on the show. I've been speaking with lawyer, human rights activist Mohammed Inuwa, live from our Abuja studio.